Well, all right, people. So I was just on the internet and I found this video here of Chris Chris Cuomo, of course, talking about Trump in a negative fashion. I mean, I can make a video like this probably 10, 20, 30 times a day, just picking out news clips and criticizing the left-leaning media. So I'm just going to play this and I'll give you my analysis of it. So here we go.
All right, here's my closing argument. This tweet was bad for you, Mr. President. Here it is. The summit with Russia was a great success. Nobody thinks that, except with the real enemy of...
See, he put that in there really quick. Nobody thought that, if you heard him say that. You know, I think there were people that... I don't think everybody disapproved of it. So right there, that is a lie. All right.
Of the people, the fake news media. This is ugly and it is unoriginal. But most importantly, it is an admission that you hate your country.
All right, so there you go. There's Chris Cuomo accusing Trump of hating his country. What a stupid accusation to make with no evidence whatsoever. So just because you criticize some members of the media, that means you hate your country. I mean, the media also has to be held in check. I mean, in this country, there's checks and balances, and I think he goes on to say that later in this video, that there's checks and balances. So who checks the media? I mean, there's got to be somebody that criticizes the media too. So the media just doesn't have free reign to criticize people whenever they want. So if the media criticizes you, I mean, you have the right to fight back and argue back. And we all know the media has been overly critical of Trump. I mean, you don't have to be a conservative to realize that. I mean, all the studies showing how negative the media is towards Trump.
How so? Here's the case. You know, this phrase was an operative threat to murder opposition in the French Revolution, right? You know, Khrushchev identified the phrase as part of a campaign to annihilate individuals, literally, who disagreed with the supreme leader. His predecessor, Stalin, used it specifically with artists and thinkers that threatened his narrow views of humanity. Did you know that Mao used it during his murderous campaigns? America...
All right, Chris, calm down a little bit there. Just calm it down. So he's now I mean, is he really comparing our country to Mao, to Mao, into Lenin, into communist Russia 100 years ago, who murdered millions upon millions of people? I mean, if you look at the Chinese communist Mao Zedong, I mean, I think the number's like 50 million or 60 million people murdered. I mean, is he really comparing the state of those countries and how horrible they were to America now? I mean, he's acting like, oh, it's so bad now in America. I mean, this is such a ridiculous argument here. Our country in no way resembles the brutality and the dictatorial reign that was happening in those countries. I mean, the media, it's not like media are being arrested and put in jail right now. It's not like you have Trump saying to CNN, hey, you better knock it off or I'm going to put you in jail. I mean, yes, he's criticizing the media, but he's not saying that he's going to take away their rights or anything like that. So shut the fuck up, Chris Cuomo. Being criticized by the president is not the same as being threatened with your First Amendment right. The president has a First Amendment right just like you do.
Country you lead was formed in defiance of strongmen, bullies, and the idea that might...
Oh my God, Chris, you're being bullied? Give me a fucking break.
Makes right. A free press is a metaphor for what makes America great.
You are free. I mean, is there somebody telling you can't say what you're saying? If the country was not free, if there was no free press, then you would be killed right now, Chris. You would be locked up in jail because you've been disparaging the president for a long fucking time. But that's not how our country works, because we actually have a First Amendment, and obviously the president is abiding by that because there's been no laws passed, there's been no journalists jailed or any bullshit like that, like we've seen in other countries. like Russia, but back when it was a communist country. No, we still have a free, open country. So shut the fuck up.
So you have now admitted that you are against what we are all about. And the real problem now is for you to convince people that you don't hate what makes America truly great. I know in the past you've tried to play that you respect the media and that you know we're important. Like you said that when a bunch of us got murdered.
So I think he's referring to the instance a few weeks ago when like 5 media members of some newspaper were murdered. Do you notice he says when 5 of us got murdered? Like he's acting like he was affected by this. Like, oh, us. He's acting like a victim of this terrible thing that happened when this crazy guy shot up this newspaper. He's acting like, oh, us. Chris Cuomo is acting like he's like a victim or survivor of this. I mean, like, I have a job. I'm a landscaper. If it's one of the things I do over the summer is I landscape a few times a week. So if some landscapers got killed for whatever reason in like fucking Washington, in like California, I wouldn't be like, oh, a few of us got murdered, I'm a victim. Nah. So don't act like you're affected by this or you're a victim of this terrible tragedy that happened.
It didn't take long to come back to this. I knew you didn't lower those flags after the Maryland newspaper shooting right away for a reason.
By the way, lowering flags, I think, in my opinion, is really fucking dumb. I mean, what is that? What's the message there? I think we should hold our flags up high and fly them proud. I mean, like on 9/11, people lower their flags. I mean, this is just a side issue, but on 9/11, people lower their flags. I think we should fly them 2 times higher. I mean, going by that, like, oh, whenever a cop gets killed, we lower our flag. No, fly him twice as high. That never made any sense to me.
Just like you won't really own how Russia did the U.S. dirty in the election. Why? Because you see things through the lens of what is good for you.
No, he's trying to see things through what's good for our country. If we just continue to hang on this Russian meddling thing, we're never going to get along. I mean, the Soviets did a lot of bad things. They 40, 50, 60 years ago during the Cold War, I'm sure they did way worse than this, than trying to hack our election or whatever you want to call it. I'm sure the Soviets did way worse than us, but at the end of the day, our presidents, and whether it was Khrushchev or some of the later leaders or whatever, they still got along, they still talked, and they didn't, every time they met, they wouldn't bring up every little detail like this because they realized they both had nuclear weapons, and if something went wrong, the world would be over. So he's not bringing it up for some selfish reason or whatever. He's trying to get along with Russia and trying to be more friendly to them, because if we're not friendly, it's not good, because we both own 90% of the world's nukes.
These matters. So right now, you want people to hate us. But as the old expression goes, you point a finger at someone else, and there are 3 pointing back at you, and a thumb that's kind of nowhere, depending on where you put it. But that's not.
I don't understand what the fuck this guy. I mean, is this guy on fucking heroin or something? What does he mean? 3 fingers and a thumb pointing back? I don't fucking get that. What is he referencing? The fact that Trump likes to do the thumbs up thing like that? I have no fucking idea what this guy's talking about, and you're not being funny at all if that's what you're trying to do. All right.
The point is, to say Putin isn't the enemy, the free press is, doesn't worry me. I know the truth. I've traveled the world, and I know our media is envied and perhaps the best check against the abuse of power that can lead to a Stalin or...
See, the media can be a check against government, but when it criticizes everything one side does and is clearly left-leaning, then it's not really a check. It's just a partisan hack of the Democratic Party, and I mean, that's fine to have media outlets that are biased like that. I mean, there's right-wing media outlets and there's left-leaning media outlets, but to come on the air and act like you're all biased and everything like that when you're clearly left-leaning and have an agenda is so hypocritical. And CNN is very far left, and to act like, oh, CNN's this courageous news outlet that's anti-establishment or whatever. It's just such bullshit. And even people on the left hate CNN because they're very, very corrupt and they're very just inaccurate in their media reporting. So, I mean, just everything is anti-Trump. They're the anti-Trump network. There's a reason why people call them the Clinton News Network.
For a Mao. The real worry should be for you. Do you really think the people will keep a president who hates what their country is all about?
Actually, I do. You know, because you were the same ones, CNN, MSNBC, all the left, again, the liberal media, who's, again, very much against Trump and never gives him any credit for anything, which, again, shows these people's bias. These are the same people who were telling us for 2 years that Trump would never win the nomination, would never be elected president, on and on about he never could be president, but yet he won, even though people were saying he would never win. And, I mean, it's not like his approval ratings through the roof or anything like that. But with all this hammering from the media, I mean, the media is clearly, and not even just the media, it's like entertainment, celebrities, late night talk show hosts, with all the negativity against Trump, accusing him of, again, hating the country. See this, Cuomo accuses Trump of hating the country, but then when Trump fights back and calls these people fake news and says they're not good media, well then Cuomo cries out, "Oh, I'm being oppressed. It's like Russia back in the 1940s. Oh my God, oh my God." So this guy is throwing stones from a glass house, and I'm just so sick of hearing him. Not only him, but other members of the media act like there's some heroes and they're unbiased, but in reality, their political leaning is very much exposed. So anyway, they're saying, oh, well, you know, the American people hates Trump. His approval rating is in like, I think in the Real Clear Politics, it was at like 43%, which isn't great. But I mean, again, with all the hating that's being done with Trump and the media and other avenues of society, you figure his approval ratings would be like in the 20s or 30s. But no, he still has a lot of people, obviously, that still like him. And that's taking into consideration most of these polls are being done by left-leaning organizations like CNN and Reuters and others, which were wrong. And during the election, they said, "Oh, all our polls show Trump's going to lose. He's definitely going to lose, guys. Hillary Clinton's going to win." But no, the polls were wrong. So these polls, how do we even know they're fucking right? I mean, so these guys are saying, "Oh, well, Trump's never going to be elected again, right?" Well, these are the same people that told you Trump would never be elected president for 2 fucking straight years. So this was just again, this is just another clip here of the media exposing themselves as being left-leaning in the pocket of the Democrats. And but there you go, people. So there's my thoughts on that. Tell me what you thought about this. Did you like this format here of me criticizing Chris Cuomo? I know this is a more longer video than I usually do. But yeah, let me know if you liked it or not. I would have preferred to keep it a little shorter, but hey, I had a lot of things to say, and I don't run off a script or anything like that or any bullshit. I don't cut or paste, or I do one fucking take and that's it. So let me know what you thought about this. Did you like it? Was it too long? Was it a weird kind of video? I know you can't see my beautiful little handsome face here, but it is what it is. So and you got to see my little cheap little fucking $200 Chromebook laptop. So yeah, let me know what you thought about this, and there you go, people.